And our next presentation is, again, one of our sponsors. And we really want to thank you again, Hameed. Stirista is joined the BMA this year as a new member and sponsoring the event. So we really appreciate that. Hamid Ghayam is the EVP Products and Marketing at Starista, and he heads their teams driving strategy and branding. He's got over 25 years experience in advertising and media, and he's worked at different organizations and agencies, works with brands. Prior to that, he was with Altus at one time, and prior to that, he's had senior roles in various agencies and data media companies. So he's very knowledgeable about this business, and he's worked in TV and digital advertising practices, and we're really happy to have you share some of your knowledge with us today, Hamid.
Thanks, Dan. Yeah, so yeah, I'm fortunate I came from the operator perspective, so share a lot of what Carrie just went through working at Altice with our Optimum and Sunlink brands there and doing some of the marketing. So thanks, Carrie, for that. It was great to hear that some of the tactics we use are what you guys are using. Today, you know, I'm with Stirista, and what I wanted to really focus on was CTV and OTT, and using that for acquisition, upsell, and retention, right? So the three big areas that we all look for from operator perspective to grow our businesses. So I don't know if you guys can see my screen, okay?
Yep.
All right, bright orange. I figured that'd wake us up after lunch, right? So do that. So a little bit about Starista. So we were founded back in 2010. You guys probably use us and don't even know. We've been, you know, if you do digital advertising like what Carrie was talking about, you probably use a lot of our data. That's kind of our background is in data. We do a lot of email marketing. When I was Altice, that's how I met Starista. They did a lot of our email campaigns. Back last year, we got some private equity money. We had to pay Tom Zanoli's salary, so we needed a lot more money. So we went and raised that. And we do a lot of work with a lot of big name brands, including Vivian's company there, Frontier. So, so that's a little bit of background on us. So I wanted to start, and please jump in any questions you might have. I don't want to wait till the end. If you have any questions, just interrupt me, jump in. So I want to talk about CTV. What is CTV? What is OTT? You guys hear a lot of that. To me, CTV and OTT is equivalent to streaming, right? So it's you have two types. You have subscription-based, or you have the ad-driven stuff out there. So what I'm going to focus on is the ad-driven piece, because a lot of the subscription-based don't have ads, so they don't kind of fit in with what I'm going to talk about. So I'm going to focus on the ad-driven piece. And the difference between OTT and CTV is OTT is the streaming across any device, right? It's called over-the-top. That means you don't need a set-top. It's any type of IP-enabled device, whether it's a tablet, smart TV, your desktop, anything where you can get streaming video, you can consume it. CTV is particular to the big screen, right? So if you have the new Samsung smart TVs, then you can consume CTV. If you have an Apple TV box, then you can consume CTV. So that's kind of the difference when you hear, you know, out there people kind of use CTV and OTT. You know, just that's kind of the differentiator between the two. Some of the points where I think it really helps outside of you know, what you generally see with linear or broadcast TV is that everything is addressable. That means I can send a different ad to Stan to get him to go fishing versus to Tom because he lives in San Antonio and there's no water near him, right? So it's that addressability, the differentiator You can send one ad to one person, another ad to another person, which we're getting to in linear, but it's still a ways away. CTV, OTT gives you that capability of that really household level addressable targeting. It's a very high quality format. Most people are used to getting the videos when you're surfing, the online video, pre-roll, those kind of things. Those don't have high completion rates, right? You can scroll right through it. You might miss the whole ad. With CTV and OTT, you have high completion rates. That means people are going to watch it. The only way not to see that ad is if you change a channel or turn your TV off, right? So high completion rates. So your ad is viewed. It's non-skippable. You can't fast forward a CTV or OTT ad, right? You're stuck with watching it. And it's available across multiple platforms, right? So you can use the same ad and reach your audience, whether they're on their laptop, whether they're on their phone or on the big screen sitting on the couch. And so that's what makes CTV and OTT unique. And a lot of the providers that we know from a linear perspective, right? The HGTVs, the Bravos, all these guys, they all have CTV apps, or they work with what we call virtual MVPDs like Sling or Pluto and have their content available, right? So it's almost like it's on demand, it's available. You can do live, but you can also watch your shows whenever you want type of environment. And all the shows you're used to are generally available in this format, right? Any questions before I move on? There's a lot of content there, so jump in if you have any questions. All right. So one of the big things about CTV is that you have this whole ecosystem, right? Since it's available, it's really driven by data. So my favorite saying is, the left-handed trombone player wearing orange pants, right? You want to target them. You want to get them to sign up because you're finding out through your CRM, through your activities that you have, that left-handed trombone players have a higher tendency to get 1 gig bandwidth internet versus other folks. So you want to target them. You want to upsell them. So you can take your CRM data, you can onboard that data, and then be able to target those people effectively and then attribute against it, right? Did it lead to more people going to your website? Since everything is addressable in this format, you should have the data on every impression delivered. Did I deliver that impression to Stan to see if he got my phishing ad, or to Tom to see, because he's a bandwidth hog, to make sure he upgrades to the 1 gig broadband from the 200 megabit broadband, right? You should have that information because everything is addressable and you can do the targeting. So you can take your CRM data, you can use that for targeting, or you can use it for suppression, right? So since Tom's already a customer of GVTC, so GVTC doesn't need to hit him and waste an impression there, we can actually suppress him and then see if we can target other people within the environment. So that's the exposure, and that's the type of things you can do with CTV that you cannot do with linear right now. Right, so it creates this end-to-end campaign, starting with the CRM and going back to reporting and feeding your CRM, and creates a closed loop around your advertising that you don't currently get with linear type of television. Any questions before I move on? I'm either confusing everybody or I'm the best presenter ever. So it's one or the other. So the biggest part of any type of campaign, and Carrie touched on this as well, is the identity, right? So you need to have the backbone to do that, right? To take your CRM and take that data and be able to identify who you want to target, right? Or who you want to suppress. So one of our broadband clients that we work with, what they do is they provide us a customer list that we suppress, and then we do edge out and acquisition campaigns for them in their geo to get more subscribers, right? So we target a geo area, we suppress their existing customers, and then we go target and drive those people to their website for doing the lead gen activity and getting the sales call, or we can drive them directly to sign up and do e-commerce type of activities. And it's all done through CTV, highly targeted use of their CRM, and also to tie in with their lead gen activities. The other thing we do for clients is we identify a specific segment and target that segment using, again, the CRM data and adding other pieces to it. So identifying bandwidth hogs to say, hey, you're using the bandwidth, and get them to upgrade to the next level of their internet. As Carrie mentioned, everybody needs internet, right? So how much do you need? And then upsell them on that. The third piece we do for our clients is VOD. So we look at people that have been buying VOD and then stop buying VOD, right? Again, all based on identity, all based on CRM. If you've been buying and then you stop, then you can get a thing saying, hey, there's a new movie coming out. You watch these kind of shows. We can identify the type of shows they watch or movies they've rented in the past. And if a new movie in that genre is coming out, we can target folks and get them to do VOD, right? So it's that whole identity, it's use of the CRM, and it's tying in with other piece of data. The fourth piece, which I didn't mention in here, is small to medium businesses, right? So again, everybody is working from home. You want to get their you want to get more SMB type of stuff within people's homes, so you can identify small businesses, target them, and grow your small business acquisition, right? So again, all CRM-based data and matching your data to customer profiles, creating segments, and then targeting those segments. Any questions? Clear as mud?
And this is Ken Melly at GBTC.
Hameed, where does all the data come from? Is it most of it internal information that your clients use, or is there other data sources that they get, from Google or whatever?
Great question. So it's a combination. So what we do is, Stirista is a data company, right? So we've been around 10 years. That's our main business. So we have data on individuals. A lot of it is stuff that's first party. We're a DSP. So what that means is we're actually the platform you use to do the buy, right? So we have data on people. What are they buying? What are they using? Those kind of things. So we're not like the middleman that gets data from third parties. We have our own data. We take that data and we match it against first party data from our clients. So if you're an operator, you have your CRM files. We take your CRM files. We enrich them with our data sets, and then we use that within our platform to do the media buying.
Okay, thanks.
I was curious how the cost compares to traditional other forms of marketing, Hameed.
So, from an addressable perspective, when I was selling addressable at Altice, it was very expensive to do addressable. So I would say it's a fraction. It's probably 1/5 of what you would pay for addressable, linear marketing. And as far as CPMs go, again, you can get long tail real cheap. You can get prime time really expensive, right? So similar type of thing. It depends on your targeting, who you're trying to target, but generally speaking, it's in line with what you see in linear, and much lower than addressable linear.
Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And then the other piece is that you don't have to go to somebody to buy, right? You don't have to go to your local broadcast network to buy TV spots. You can run this programmatically with my DSP and be able to target and do that acquisition without having to go to a competitor to buy linear time. So that kind of ties in with, the right channel for the right target at the right time. This is audience driven, most of what I talk about. So, it's 100% addressable. So you're going after the people you want to go after. You're going after the geo area that you really want to go after. You don't have to worry about cable zones. You don't have to worry about buying from your local broadcaster to hit the targets in the area you want. This is programmatic. It's driven through, in this case, it's my media platform, but you can use others, just to be fair to everybody. And so you can go in, use your existing spots that you've been using, and be able to target based on identity, do it addressably, and be able to hit your targets. With a video ad that is not skippable, right? You can't fast forward it, people are gonna see it, and it's highly effective in driving people to your site. And then you can do other things with it because you do identify who's seen the ad. You can also attribute if that person went to your website, if that person generated a lead, right? So it's all those things come into play. So it's very effective at a fraction of the cost.
Hamid, how do you balance the completion rate with kind of the friction that may be caused with a consumer?
So when you sign up for CTV, and any type of streaming that is ad driven, you're used to it, right? So the friction piece is not there, because it's like if you're watching linear, you can't skip through your linear, right? You have to watch the ad. So it's a similar principle in streaming. So the unskippable piece is part of having the streaming service. And if you want to get away from ad, a lot of these guys offer a subscription package that you can buy to not have ads, right? So it costs you not to have ads. So if you're open to that, then you'll take the subscription. Like Hulu, you can get Hulu that's not ad supported, but you have to pay another $9 a month. So what happens is people that are subscription fatigued say, well, I'd rather not pay the $9 and see the ad. If you really don't want to see the ad, you can pay extra. Same with Peacock, same with, a lot of these guys.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. One of the key pieces of CTV and OTT is the reporting piece, right? So a lot of times with TV, you would have to wait a couple of days and you get your TV thing that did your spot air, when did it air, those kind of things. A lot of the programmatic, especially through our DSP, the reporting is very granular and it's second by second. So you literally get it instantaneously, right? So where your ads have run, and you have a very granular thing on where it ran, when it ran, what geo did it run in, and all those kind of things. So, what devices did it run on? So it's very, very granular reporting. It's real-time reporting. You don't have to wait for all the information as you did with linear, and then especially if you were working with your broadcaster and had to wait. I know I used to have to wait like days for my broadcaster to get me my linear data when I was doing the marketing at LTs. So this helps in in that piece where you don't have to wait, right? The data is available. You don't have to wait. You don't have to look at Nielsen ratings. You don't have to do weighting and all that stuff. This is granular, second by second data, knowing exactly where your placements are. And then you can see, the next slide here, getting into attribution, you can actually then attribute, did I hit, was my segment that I was looking to target? If I was looking to target the left-handed trombone player, what percentage of my target did I reach? Did that person that I was trying to reach, did they go to my website? Where on my website did they go, right? Did they just go to a landing page? Did they go all the way to my plans? and then be able to attribute on that, act on that, and optimize on that, right? So all the stuff Carrie was talking about where she was doing retargeting and all those things, you can apply all those pieces to CTV. One of the things we do for one of our clients is they run CTV. We look at the impressions. If the impression was delivered, then we look at the site. Did they go to the site? If they didn't, we retarget them with a banner ad or a social ad to get them to click and go to the site, right? Once they go to the site, what pages do they go to? And then we optimize against those things to get that person to go through the whole buying process and get them to where you either call them or they sign up online or whatever your closing methodology is. So drive a lot toward website, drive a lot toward the bottom of the funnel, and optimize against that. Any questions on attribution or reporting? No? All right. So that's it. So anybody have any questions, or I give you 9 minutes of your day back? Or
I mean, I was wondering if CTV is better for business to business or business to consumer in terms of what you've seen.
Actually, it's relative in both, right? So so one of the things that we've been seeing, actually, great question, is that a lot of our B2B customers watch CTV when they're sitting at home. So one of the things that Stirista offers is the capability of taking your B2B data and targeting those people at at home while they're watching Hulu at night, right? So that's one of the nuances of CTV, which make it very effective, is you can use that B2B target and hit them at home, right? So a lot of our clients, that's kind of their B2B practice, is doing exactly that.
Thanks. And when you were talking about granularity, are you able to target like a device inside a house, like one versus the other?
Yes. And yeah, so we can having that identity or device graph allows us to know what devices are at what addresses, right? So we can target certain devices and only target the CTV, or only target the Apple box, or only target the Samsung TV, or only target the Vizio TV within the home, if that's the way you want to go. So we do have that type of granularity.
That's nuts.
Hameed, I have just one quick question for you. So what types of ads do you feel perform best on CTV? Or do you feel like product focused as opposed to like price focused? Or do you have any data behind that?
So that's a great question. Depends on where in the funnel you want to be, right? Mm-hmm. So the beauty of CTV is you can do awareness and you can do direct response, right? So so one of the things that we look at, and what we've been successful is actually driving the DR part of the business, the direct response, which is more price focused, right? But it also builds awareness because you're getting your brand out, right? So Vivian's running a Frontier special, so she can come in and do price points to drive people to their site for a sign up. But it also gets since it's very targeted, it also gets the brand awareness out to say, hey, Frontier's in your neighborhood, right? So that is the beauty of the addressable nature of CTV, is you can actually drive both.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions, comments, thoughts?
I'll ask one. I mean,
Sure.
When Carrie was talking, we were looking at the fact that the digital spend was less than 50% of their marketing budget. And it occurred to me that if digital is much more efficient in terms of that spend. They may be actually doing more digital than they are traditional. So from your perspective, is digital cheaper than traditional to reach the same kind of results? Is it more efficient?
Yeah, so it's more of, again, using fishing terminology, you throw a cast net or you go in and drop a line, right? So, by accident in TV, sometimes by accident, you reach people that maybe you weren't intending, but it's in their brain and they're aware of your brand and move forward. Digital to me is a lot more focused. And when we look at from a marketing perspective, traditional media still needs to be a part of your overall plan. But what your intentions are, what your marketing plan is, determines what percentage you want to apply, right? So as more and more people drop cable, drop broadcast, and go into a broadband only type of thing with streaming, you're going to find is that CTV rates are increasing. More digital spend is going to start happening, and that the tide's going to change. It happens every so often. Things change back and forth, but the more addressable you want to be, the more targeted you want to be, the more you're going to go digital, because that allows that versus traditional media. And then a lot of it is people are scared with CTV and digital. They don't understand it. So they've been doing linear for a long time. So let's just keep doing linear. And one of the big things that we run into is educating our partners or brands about how effective CTV really is and why they shouldn't be scared about it, right? They shouldn't be scared using it because it's actually really simple. It's your same creative that you're running on linear, but now you have lower pricing and a lot better identity resolution and reporting and all this stuff that you really want. So you can attribute and say, the dollar that I spent actually, how many customers did it get me, right? So that's half the battle is the awareness and getting rid of fear.
And I would add, Hamid, too, that it's a great testing platform, right? You get very quick results and it informs your traditional media much more quickly. It just makes you more agile.
Yeah, and A/B testing and creative testing. I mean, we do a lot of that with our clients where they run 2 different creative and see which creative works best and what audience, right? So that's hard to do in linear because you got to wait for your results. Here, the results are instantaneous and you can optimize on that right away. It's a great point, Viv.
Is there a minimum size company that this works for? Or is there a required
No, I mean,
scale?
we run ads for Tom's Pizza and on the corner all the way up to Walmart. So you have to look at and part of this is planning, right? So that's part of what we help our clients with is plan to see how much money do you have, where do you need to be so you can be most effective. So it's a little different from TV where it's you got to have a minimum spend because it costs X amount of money to get out and do this. Here, you're looking at a cost per thousand. So even if it's $20 CPM for a CTV or OTT ad, that's 1,000 impressions for $20, right? So it depends on how large of a geo you want to target, how who you're trying to reach and stuff, but it's small to big. Anybody can do it, and that's part of the fear is to get away from am I going to lose money by doing this?
Hamid, I was wondering, could I ask one last quick question? I was wondering, I've seen Nielsen data before, but they never have like maybe it's a MAC address of these devices or IP address of the router or something like that. Is that something your company owns or gathers or somehow?
Yeah, we gather that. That's part of our identity graph. So we have IP address because CTV is different from regular digital or Facebook type of thing. You can't drop a cookie on it, right? You can't drop a cookie on your TV. There's nowhere to put it. So what we do is we use IP addresses and we keep track of IP addresses connected to a household. So we have an address to IP address to a device, and you can't take your CTV, strap it on your back, and take it to a Starbucks, right? So they're pretty fixed. So this allows us to know what devices are connected to what household, and keep track of the IPs. And as we know, being in the industry, the IPs don't change as much as some people make us think they change. So, but we do keep track of them, and so this allows us to be very pinpointed in that. And Nielsen does not do that. LiveRamp does not do that. So it allows us to kind of be a little bit ahead of the curve in the CTV space.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right, Lauren, I think we have an ad that we wanted to show for Stirista, right?
That's right. Give me just a
All
sec.
right.
Let me make sure my sound is on.
And what you're seeing is what we actually run on CTV. So this is an actual ad we run on CTV. So we dog food our products.
Viewers are consuming over 4 billion hours of connected TV content. And with linear viewership down, CTV is the best way to reach the customers and households you want. CTV ads are addressable and targetable, so it's easy to see success from your connected TV campaigns. And nearly all of the MVPDs, Hulu and Peacock are ad-enabled. Everyone from Gen Z to boomers are increasing their viewership of streaming content. Our identity spine lets you know exactly who your ads are reaching, so there's no waste and more ROI.